Hello, let's continue. In this portion of the series, we will cover the logic behind programming notification lists and friends lists. See? First, let's demonstrate the functionality of the scripts in this lesson live online to prove it works to you crazy people out there who think I'm lying about all of this and making it up. See, what happens is some people run into code trouble and then they think I made a broken tutorial and they'll put comments in like, "Oh, Adam, this isn't working for me. What happened to your tutorial?" But in actuality, it is their brains that is broken. They forgot a period or semicolon or something. My shiz will be working. I'm proving it right now. So if you go to the site, webintersect.com, and you sign up right now, on your profile, you'll see all your friends after you make. So here it says I have 12 friends on my profile. So you're going to be getting updated user.php script, and you're going to get this notifications.php script, and you're also going to get an update to your friendsystem.php that lives within your PHP parsers folder. So you're going to get update to two files, user.php and friendsystem.php. You're also going to get a whole new file called notifications.php. Now, I set these here in bright yellow ugly columns because I'm not prettifying anything for you people, and I would like for you guys to just take these code containers and maybe you can put them in magic boxes when you get better at web development later. You don't have to have these on a page called notifications. These boxes can be pulled up by links in your header. You can have a link up here that says friend requests and put a number next to that on how many friend requests they have. When the user clicks that link, when you get better at web development, all you have to do is learn to make a magic box appear wherever you want it to, and it can have all the content that you want in it by simple Ajax requests, silly head. So all I'm doing is throwing these things on this page here, and you can take the code logic from this script that I'm about to explain to you in a minute and put it anywhere you like within your social network system. For now, you're not going to have any notifications in your system unless you program that in ahead of me. But for now, this will be an empty list that says you do not have any notifications, and your friend request list will most certainly be populated if you have friend requests. So Khoury has requested friendship of me on February 6th. So I can accept or reject. Now let me show you how it works. If I click accept, it says press OK to accept this friend request. And you don't have to have these confirm boxes. I'm just doing that for just another layer of confirmation when people click things. But you don't have to even have those. You can have the Ajax process right when they hit accept button. But mine's going to process right when they hit OK. And then it said processing for a second, request accepted, and I'm now friends with Khoury, and I can click here and go to his profile and see, look, he has one friend. It's Adam. Now if I go back to my profile, he's going to be in my list as well. So now you can see I have 13 friends. So back to my notifications, and Miguel has requested friendship, and I have nothing against Miguel, and I'll go re-request him in a second. But I'm going to reject it just to show you what it does. Reject, press OK to reject this friendship request. OK. Request rejected. You chose to reject friendship with this user. So if I go to his profile, you can see he has two friends, but I'm not one of them. I can request friendship from him now to make up for me rejecting him. I hope Miguel will be my friend. OK. It says OK, friend request sent. So now Miguel, when he checks his notifications page, he's going to have a friend request from Adam on whatever date it is today. So I'm going to go through here and accept all my good buddies. Okay, good buddy. Okay, I got new buddies. I'm going to have lots of friends. I'm going to talk to them, hold them, squeeze them, and call them George. Okay, so now if I'm down at the end of my list, you'll see I only have 3 left to accept or reject. So what happens if I refresh the page right now? Go to my notifications page, and boom, see, it's just those 3. All of the other ones that I previously handled will be gone from the list, which is what you want. Okay, so let me accept these last 3 good buddies of mine. Okay, so now if I click notifications, I have no friend requests and I have no new notifications. And like I said, this will not even be populated yet with the programming that we have in the system so far. That's coming. Now if I go to my profile, I have a whole bunch of friends. 34 friends. but there's only going to be, I think, a max of like 18 showing here, and you can have a max of how many ever you want. You can show just the first 4 friends, or a randomized array. You can randomize the array so it's always new friends of that user being shown in like a 6-box slot. You know what I mean? And it looks like I messed up the link on this page. Let's see. Yeah. The reason why this is a blue link when it should be just black text is because I have a link tag somewhere on user PHP where it should not be. Or I have it closing, not closing where it should be closing. You know what I mean? And I can fix that, don't worry. Before you get the code, that'll be fixed. See, on Jeremy it's not there because he has no view all link. And actually that view all link is not, you don't have a page called viewfriends.php yet, but you can go ahead and create that, and this link will already navigate to it. But let me go ahead and fix that. I'll show you. Okay, see, I'll show you exactly in the code what my retarded butt did. I have an A tag opening here, and I'm closing it with a button tag. So that's why you see what you see there. So let me just change this to an A, and we'll be good to go. Now if I upload that, you'll see that little mistake is gone. And that, I'm going to leave this in the video just to show you guys that everybody messes up little syntax errors, but you have to know where to go back and fix them. That's the key. And it just took me 2 seconds to narrow down in my script where that was occurring. Now watch what happens if I refresh the page. Watch this text here that says block button. See? It's the way it should be now. And the link is closed here. The reason why it was blue and selectable before is because it was being considered part of that link since I didn't close my link tag correctly. Ha ha! Okay, first let's blast over this friendsystem.php update. You already have a version of friendsystem.php from earlier in the series, but now we're going to put some more code into it. And you can see that right here, this PHP block, I like to connect my PHP blocks like that so there's no white space in between them. And honestly, you don't even need PHP blocks dividing these. I just did that so you guys had a more visual sense of where your code blocks were for certain logic. This could all be one giant PHP block that opens up here and closes down at the very end here. Now the code that you have previously is all collapsed right here, and I have that all collapsed because I don't want it to get in your way visually while we're explaining things. This new code here that's been added, I'll explain to you right now. Now this whole new code segment is for when the user who's checking their friend requests either clicks accept or reject. So we intake a few variables. The first variable we intake is, or we're checking to see if a few variables are set before this code even runs. The action variable, which is going to be either one of two things. It's going to be accept or reject. And you can see I'm checking if post action equals accept here, and then if post action equals reject. This code runs in that case. If the post action is accept, all of this code runs instead. So the first thing we do within this little script block is we get the request ID, the friend request ID, which is basically the ID that represents the row in the database for that friendship that has not been accepted yet. Then the user, which is basically the user1 field from the query on the notifications page. And the user1 field is the person who's requesting the friendship. Then you just want to make sure that user actually exists, so you select the count from the users table where username equals this user. You can see this variable name is user here, and it's created from the post user1 variable. And so you just check to make sure that person exists. You get the exist count, and then you evaluate the exist count to see if it's less than 1. That means they don't exist. And then you close your MySQL I connection, and you echo out user does not exist, and exit the script completely. Now if that doesn't happen and the user actually exists, which it will in most cases, so if the post action is accept, basically if the user clicks the accept button where they're checking their friend requests, then you're going to run this block of code, and like I said, if they reject it, this little block of code runs. So first let me explain that since it's just a couple of lines. We run a MySQL query, and the first parameter being our database connection reference, and then our SQL syntax, which is delete from the friends table where ID equals this request ID and user1 equals the user. and user2 equals whoever's checking their friend requests, the logged in user. And accepted equals 0, because upon rejection that would never be a 1, that would always be a 0 for those fields or those rows in the database. If the friendship isn't accepted yet, this will still be a 0. So you can check to see if all these things match up just right. This row will get deleted. Then you close your database connection, echo back reject OK to JavaScript. And when that gets back to the Ajax request, that's where you guys saw it say you successfully, or whatever, you rejected this friendship request. So you can see the Ajax spits it back right away. And you guys saw how fast those requests were running. It's super fast. Alright, so if the post action equals accept, that means you want to accept that friend request, or the user checking their friend request would like to accept it. So you're going to make sure that they're not already friends. And you get the row count 1. That represents the query that checks to see if they're friends or not already. And you have another row count here, which this could be a joined query if you want, but I didn't want to overcomplicate and confuse anybody, so I just left it in 2 separate queries. So basically these 2 queries here will help you evaluate to see if these 2 people are friends already or not. But I just said if row count 1 or row count 2 is greater than 0, that means there's already a friendship for these people in the system. We're going to echo you are already friends with this user and exit the script. Else, if the friendship is not found anywhere in the system, then you can update the friends table, the accepted field, to 1, and that means true, where ID equals this request ID, user1 equals the user requesting friendship, and user2 equals the logged in user. Then you simply run that query, and you close your database connection, and you echo back to Ajax accept OK, and then you exit the script. So that is the update that you're getting to friendsystem.php. Now let's discuss the updates you'll be getting to user.php. In the HTML, all I added was a new horizontal rule and a paragraph tag here that echoes the friends HTML, and that's the HTML list that we're going to assemble. And I also put the amount that the user has as friend count and their view all friends link. So let me show you what I mean by that. On the profile page, if you click your profile and look at it, you'll see if you have more than, I think I have 18. Yeah, there's 18 maximum friends can be shown on my profile, even though I have 34. You can change that to 5, 4, 6, however many you want. And they're randomized as well. And I just put a view all link. So this is the new code that you see here. Adam has 34 friends and the view all link. Now we don't have that viewfriends.php page made yet, but I'll make a simple version and I'll share it with you guys. But that can also be a magic box that you pop up in the middle of the page or something. So you have a lot of creative freedom. Now let me show you this list. You see how Johnny Matos is my first friend, Mohammed Jahamedi is my second friend, Lamstrings is my third friend. Let me refresh the page. You can see HT Designs 90 is now my first friend. Miles is now my second friend. So it's a randomized grabbing. So what I did was in the SQL syntax, I just made the query choose order by random. So instead of order by ID ascending or descending, I order by random. And this will allow you to have different friends. So if somebody has 500 friends, you don't want to show the same 6 or 18 people on their profile all the time to other people. Every time the page is refreshed and made new, you can have that list be a whole new list of random people from within their friend list. Okay, so that covers the new little HTML that we're echoing out here. Now the friends list, I'll show you how that is created, and the friends count as well. You know how this variable is created because we've been working that since with that variable since the beginning to echo the username who that profile belongs to. So you need to see friend count, how that is derived, and the friends HTML. Now this code that's collapsed here is the code that you already are familiar with, that's already in your user.php. But now here is the new code that you're going to be adding to yours, or really you can just take my whole user.php updated file and run it on your system. Alright, so the first thing we do is initialize the friends HTML variable. Then we initialize a variable for the friends view all link, Because, for instance, if I go to my profile and I click one of my friends, HT Designs, he only has 7 friends so far. He doesn't have that 18 display maximum. So I don't have to give a view all link because this is all of his friends sitting right here in his profile. Only if they have more friends than is allowed in the 18 maximum, or yours can be set to a 6 maximum or whatever. If they have more friends, if you set yours to a 6 maximum, he would have that link to view all because he has 7 friends. That's 1 more than the maximum. And that's why you see that link doesn't show up there for him, but on mine it does. So that's why we initialize that variable as empty, because it's going to be echoed to the page, and if the person doesn't have that many friends, then that you can echo empty, nothing there, instead of a link. Now the first thing we'll do is make a query that's going to get the total friend count for whatever user that is. So you select the count, and I'm just counting the ID fields because I don't want to have a heavy query. So I'm just selecting the count from the friends table where user1 equals this user and accepted equals 1, or user2 equals this user and accepted equals 1. So you want to check if either user1 or user2 is this user in any of those rows, those friendship rows. And then that's how you get the full count of how many friends they have. And we pack that into a little variable called friend count. Then we say if the friend count is less than 1, that means 0, then their friends HTML list is going to say user has no friends, or Adam has no friends yet. Else, if there's at least 1 friend, then you can script out all the logic to spit out that 18 maximum friend list. And you can change maximum right there. You want yours to be 8, just put it right there, and that's all you have to change. You want yours to be 6, put it right there. That's all you got to change. I'm going to leave mine at 18 because I want at least 18 friends to show on my profile. And you see this order by rand? That allows you to get a randomized list. Now what I'm doing here is I'm running 2 separate queries and pushing them into an array. See how I create this all friends array? It's empty right here when we're creating it. Now down in the query, in the while loop where all the results come pouring out, I'm pushing all of these friends that are found within the database into that array. So basically all you're doing is querying to see who is friends with this user, and you're pushing that person into their friend array, their all friends array. So you can see array push happens here and array push happens here as well. And you can see I have a limit of max. That way that query doesn't get too heavy if they have thousands of friends. It's only going to have a max of 18 in my case. Then I'm going to get the friend array count, because if this is choosing 18 and this is choosing 18, it could possibly be 36 people come pouring out in these loops. But I want to make sure it's cut down to 18, and I want it to have a nice randomized list. And this can also be a joined query. You can join this query and this query together. You can use aliases, but I didn't want to complexify things for beginners. But if you want, you can research making joined queries, and that will make your system a little more efficient. So that's why I'm getting the friend array count, because if the friend array count is greater than the max, which I have set to 18, then I'm going to splice that array. Basically, I'm going to cut it down to the 18 maximum. And if the friend array count is greater than max, or actually that should say this view all friends link should maybe be in its own separate if condition, and it might make more sense. So let me take it out of there, and I'll say if, and in this if condition is where I'll make that link populated, and I want to check the friend count. So I'm going to say Control and paste it there if the friend count is greater than max. So if their total friend count is greater than the 18, then we're going to give them that link. I think that makes better logical sense. So this first if condition is if the friend array count that's made from pushing all of these people into this little randomized array, if that array, the resulting array, is greater than max, then you're just going to cut the array down to the maximum. Then this one is if the friend count is greater than max, then you want to supply a link to the view all friends button, or whatever. Now here's a little tricky part. I wrote an article about how you can make compound queries. And you can see here this SQL syntax says select username and avatar from users where OR logic. Now OR logic is that compound query, and I'll show you how that OR logic variable is created right now. Basically, this query is going to select the username and the avatar from the users table for all of the people in that little randomized array that we used array push to put people in. And all we have to do to make that logic is run a for each loop over the friends array, and in this for each loop you're able to access each user within that array, and you can pack it into SQL syntax. So that's what I've done. OR logic is just a variable that compounds or appends more and more OR logic or OR operators to that SQL syntax. And I know that might be hard to wrap your head around if you're a beginner, but basically you have to select a whole lot of friends, or basically 18 friends, and you want to get their username and avatar without having 18 different separate queries. You can use the array to assemble your SQL syntax and just run one query that gets all of their usernames and avatars, and they all come pouring out within this while loop. Alright, so this while loop is where all the usernames and avatars of that person's friends are going to be accessed by you. So we loop over that result set and we gather each friend username and each friend avatar, their profile picture. Then you want to check to see if the friend avatar is not equal to empty. That means if it has something in the database field, they have uploaded a custom picture, then you can use that custom picture that's going to be living within their folder in the system. And right now you don't even have any picture upload forms if you're following this lesson series to a T. But I'll show you in later lessons how you can allow your user to update their profile picture and also create photo albums. Now if they have not uploaded a custom profile picture, you're just going to use your avatar default.jpg that's sitting in your images folder. Basically you just create a default avatar like you saw that I had on my site, or you can use mine if you want for temporary. You just go into my images folder and grab it out. Then finally I can use this while loop to pack everybody and append everybody, all of the friends, into this friends HTML variable. So you see it's just a simple link wrapped around a simple image tag for that friend, and you say source equals the friend pic, and then you can have their friend username as the title, and that way when the mouse goes over it, you see here the name pops up. And these wouldn't be all avatars because people would put up their own custom picture, so you'd have nice smiling faces of all your beautiful friends there, and it'd be a randomized list. Okay, so if you guys have any burning questions about any of this script, or if you don't like it, go ahead and change it. Make it more efficient, whatever you want to do. Like I said, this could be a joined query up here instead of two separate queries. So I'm aware that things can be made a lot more efficient in this system, but I'm not doing all your work for you to give you the ultimate social network that you can then go out there and tell people that you made. No, I want you to actually make it awesome. Alright, so that's all of the updated code from user.php. Okay, now we can discuss finally notifications.php, which is the page you see here. If I click to check my notifications, hey, I got a new friend request, accept. Okay, so let me click the link again, and you can see this is the page that you would see if you have no friend requests and no notifications. So that's what we're going to discuss right now. And you can see in the HTML there's the notes box, notifications box, and the friend request box. And I have a div style clear left here. That way your footer doesn't come up into your content. That's the only reason that's there. So basically you have a notifications box and a friend request box, and I made sure to give them bright pink outer borders. You see those bright pink borders to let you know exactly where everything lives and how it's set up in CSS here to be horizontally on the page next to each other. They're both using float left, and they have a certain specific pixel width to them. Now this JavaScript that you're going to see is for the user requesting or rejecting. So you saw me earlier when I was accepting or rejecting friend requests from people. This is the function that runs that sends the Ajax request to your PHP file that makes all the magic happen. And you remember that we just talked about the updates to friendsystem.php. So what I was just explaining to you in friendsystem.php is the script that's connected to this Ajax call, and whether the user is choosing to accept or reject that friendship. And it's just like all of the other Ajax calls we've been doing from the beginning of this series, and nothing should really jump out as mysterious to you here. If you have been paying attention, that is. Let me collapse that back up. Now we have two code blocks. Well, first we include once the check login status.php script. Then if the user is not logged in, or if their log username is empty, then you can usher them away from this page. You only want logged in users checking the notifications. Then we're going to set up the notification list, the HTML that renders down in the page. And here we set up the friends request list, the list that allows the user to accept or reject friend requests. So first we'll discuss the notifications list. Let's open that up. First thing we do is select all from the notifications table where username, like binary, this user, whoever the logged in user is. Order by date time descending. If you don't know what like binary is, it's just a way to more precisely match a string to another string. And I just threw it in there for shizzles and giggles so you guys had a little more different code to play with. Basically that could read select all from notifications where username equals logged username. But in some instances you would want to use like binary to make sure you get a more exact string match. Then you actually run that query where you selected all the notifications for that user, and you get a num rows from that result set. And you say if MySQL num rows is less than 1, that means they don't have any. You put in the notifications list HTML, you do not have any notifications. Else, you're going to run a while loop over that result set to get all of the little notifications out, pop them into HTML nice and tidy, and then it all appends. All the HTML that you're putting here appends into the notification list variable, and that gets echoed down to the page here, notification list. That's why you would see a big list. And the same for your friend request lists. You would see a big list because you're looping over the result set and gathering them all, and within the while loop you're appending to your dynamic variable. If this was being appended outside of this while loop, you would only get 1. So that needs to be in the while loop to make sure it appends and compounds all of them together into that same variable. Now the last thing you see here is a MySQL query to update the user set note check. So the note checks field, or the notes check field, it's a date time field within the users table for each user, and you want to update that to now because they are checking their notifications page, so they'll see all of their most recent notifications. So you update that field where username equals this logged in user. That's why we run that update, so we can always know when the last time was that our users checked their notifications. So let me collapse that all back up here, right there. And let's check out this friends request HTML assembly. So you can see that code right there. It's not too bad, not too much. So the friend request variable gets initialized here, and down in the loop, once again, we are appending HTML data to that friend request variable. And this time we have to append more HTML because we want to have a nice layout. We wanted to have divs where information lived right next to that user's picture. So that's what I set up, is some divs that float, and you put all of the data within there. And what's really important, none of this is really important except the button. You have to add the button in there to fire off that JavaScript function that I just explained to you guys down here. That JavaScript function has to be called to either accept or reject. So you have to have buttons dynamically rendered in each of the friend requests that will allow the user to click accept or reject. Now you can run this code on your system, play with it, change it up, experiment with it, design it different, do whatever you want. And to get that list, you select all from the friends table where user2, the person being requested as friend, equals this logged in user, and accepted equals 0. Order by date made ascending. You could make that descending if you like to go the other way, but I want mine to be ascending. Then you run that query, you get the num rows from that result set. You say if num rows is less than 1 in the friends request list output HTML, you just type no friend requests. Else, you're going to compound a whole lot of HTML data into that friends requests variable that is dynamic and is also appending to itself within the loop. That way you get way more than one box. You get all of the boxes. Okay, so that is everything, and that will get you guys up to the point where I am now. So that takes care of notifications and friend lists on both sides. Your friends list to accept and reject, and the friends list to show friends on the profile. And I even showed you guys some array fun where you can randomize them and use the array to compound query.